Oh my god, that is hilarious.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another stream brought to you by yours truly, Tabletop Junkie. I am here doing a Tabletop Junkie Talks, Age of the Dead. I feel like this has been a long time coming because there's a lot of things we have to actually talk on and go over. And plus, I want to answer questions for everybody because there seems to be a lot of misconceptions regarding what this game really is. Alright, so I'm going to give you a quick rundown. This game is powered by a game called All Flesh Must Be Eaten, which I believe came out between the time of 92 to 99. And it was considered out of print after 99, sometime after that. And you can get the PDFs on drivethrurpg.com. That's where I get all my stuff from, per Eden Studios. And I love some Eden Studio stuff because I think they made a very great game. Alright, the game All Flesh Must Be Eaten. Oops, I just hit my camera again. The game All Flesh Must Be Eaten is actually the game that's powering my setting and my campaign, Age of the Dead. Inside my setting of Age of the Dead, the world is actually overrun and is being overrun by zombies or the undead. People brought back to life and reanimated dead corpses that were bitten or somehow contracted a virus, and the virus killed it with the fever, aches and pains of the regular flu, big-ass pandemic, and then they were later on reanimated. This campaign so far has 4 acts, or as I like to call them, 5 acts, or as some people might like to call them, 5 seasons of material, of stuff that I'll be putting people's players through. That is the setting. It is basically a zombie campaign. Some related material for this is Zombieland 1 and 2, Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. Also, some other things is Dead Island, both 1 and 2, Dead Island Riptide. Some other media I would suggest is The Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, Those Who Live, The Ones Who Live, Dead City, and Daryl Dixon. There's some other media there. I also recommend the Walking Dead comic book series, as well as various others. I also recommend Dawn of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, other stuff that I have seen. Dawn of the Dead, both the original and the remake. I do not recommend Dance of the Dead. That was kind of stupid. Nor do I also do the Adam Driver and Bill Murray show, although I'm a big Bill Murray fan, and I do like Adam Driver as an actor. But they won't stay dead. That movie kind of could have been way better. All right, let's begin talking about timeline here. Okay, so the first 2 seasons, as we like to call them, I call them acts. Act 0, which is like the prologue, and then Act 1, which is like the actual series, began with at the beginning of the zombie apocalypse. Act 0 was actually the first one, which was before the apocalypse, and Act 1 is the first 7 days of the apocalypse. I have a timeline as well as notes that is actually supposed to set out and sparse out a little bit of what kind of stuff will actually happen. I am so sorry. I've got freaking things going on. I have no idea. I hope to God I didn't have it going on my entire stream. I don't think I did. I don't know. I had a lot of things going on. But I don't remember hearing a lot of beeps. So, anyway, going back to what I was saying. What was I saying? Timeline. Yep. And I have a timeline to follow of what kind of events that could be going on while your characters are trying to overcome and basically stay alive. That is the whole thing. It is not, people go, hey, this game is meant to kill my character. No, this game is meant to tell you a story. It has nothing to do with your character or killing your character. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Let's actually talk about that right now, actually. Let's go over some comments that I actually do want to address because these comments came out later on today regarding an announcement that I made last night. We are going to go over them as we go over them. All right. Let's see. First comment that I do want to address is by Archer Collin. So the game is indeed designed to kill off characters. Oh, great. And my reply to that is, no, it is designed to be realistic. This was regarding Kevlar and wearing and having heavy stuff on you while while maintaining perfect mobility. If you're wearing body armor and all kinds of stuff to protect you, you can't maintain your exact mobility because Kevlar limits your mobility in realistic terms. And depending on how heavy the Kevlar is, actually limits your mobility even more and tires you out quicker. That's just
You're saying that one can't become super strong with Kevlar armor on and be able to move like the Flash?
Yeah, something like that. Or remember the talk we had last night where Toby was claiming he had all this armor on to protect him from like spitters, or spewers that were spewing stuff on him. It was like, well, I'm protected. I shouldn't have a rash. That's not how it works. You're not going to be covered head to toe with body armor. You're not going to have body armor on your legs. You may have pants on that, but eventually it's going to either soak through, or if it's water resistant, it will only soak through if there's so much liquid on you, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't fully protect you. Now, if you do have Kevlar on your legs, that's going to limit your mobility because they don't make that. And if they do, they don't make it for just anybody. So that's kind of what I was kind of addressing. It's not that the game was actually designed to kill. It's designed to give a realistic scenario and an unrealistic world. But then again, what is realistic versus not realistic? Let's look at that. Does zombie exist? No. But does Kevlar limit mobility? Yes. All facts. Okay. So that's one of the comments I definitely wanted to address on. No, it's not designed to do that. And I don't like killing off people's characters because I feel like if there's a story to tell, that's fine. Unfortunately, that is going to bring me up to my next topic that I do want to talk about. I want to talk about the characters now. Let's talk about... I don't have all my notes in front of me, but let's talk about a very easy character. Richard Atherton was a shut-in who worked for the university, and let's go with very carefully here. He didn't really have much of anything going for him. Witch King, when he designed him, did design him to be having more disadvantages than he should have started out with, of which I allow because he wasn't really looking to gain too much out of it other than a good story plot, which is fine. But unfortunately, in the end, he was one of the first ones bitten, and he was bitten in the opening scene of the first act, session 1. And he only got to live through a couple more sessions. So,
Unfortunately.
Yeah, he didn't make it very far. However, Mycroft Machiavelli did. Even though he missed a session, he still made it a bit further than that. But Mycroft actually... Okay, so why did we kill off Mycroft? Well, on a realistic terms, he had probably 10 to 12 zombies on him, which, by the way, we will talk about the terms that we use for them, because we don't use the terms zombies or ghouls. I have my reasons for it, and I'm going to explain all that here in a minute. Alright, so then let's talk about Mycroft Machiavelli. Mycroft Machiavelli is also played by Archer Colin, who, if you guys just saw my last stream, we just played Castles and Crusades together. Colin is a good guy, but one of the things I could not wrap my mind around is he was playing an outstanding soldier. I actually just saw a Reddit post about playing a soldier as a normal character really kind of doesn't really work out, because you're almost, I guess TJ disagrees with Alexander Macris on the nature of GMing. I wouldn't say I disagree. I just have opening to ideas. But we also have to be somewhat realistic but see, with each game, you're going to GM a little bit differently. For instance, with Castles and Crusades, I'm going to GM differently than what I would with All Flesh Must Be Eaten. Unless you're playing the more magical side of All Flesh. See, All Flesh Must Be Eaten is more broad than that. I should cover this in another review stream, actually. And I'm going to probably think about that at a later time. But right now, let's just cover what side of All Flesh that I'm using. I'm using the modern day one. Now, Mycroft did have a bunch of Kevlar on him, which the infected couldn't get through him or scratch him, and neither could the walkers, but eventually all of them doing it all at once, simultaneously, constantly, every 6 seconds, and holding him down while doing it. Eventually they were going to succeed. It was just going to take a lot of time. To speed up on how that works, so that way we're not wasting a lot of time with that. Hello, Jake. It's nice to see you. Also, to let anyone know, real quick, I did forget to mention this. If you guys, welcome to the stream. If you guys feel like tipping, there is a link there. The funds actually do go back into my channel to help me grow. My goal is to reach 100. I currently have made $20 at doing this. I have $80 left to go. When I reach $100, I will actually pour that right back into my channel, or I will set a new goal to go further out to collect as much as I can and in a certain amount of time that I can. Right now, I don't really have a time limit on that. I'm just trying to keep going with what I can. And there's my reasons for it. By October, I am looking at doing something a bit different, which we will probably talk about that a little bit later, but actually does fall in the line of modern zombies. But we will, once again, address that at a later time. Let's go back to what we were talking about with Mycroft Machiavelli. I had no issues with Mycroft, other than the fact that he was an active special forces soldier from overseas that was investigating a series of events that led to the plague, or the plague that actually brought the dead back from the living, which actually put him on the front lines. I did see a Reddit post where frontline normal soldiers don't really work out because they're currently on the front lines. They're going to be seeing this shit first before any other character does. The only way that, if the GM doesn't pin them up against something realistic or not, even if it's a little unrealistic, but still somewhat feasible in the minds of the imaginary, in the realm of what your scope is. See, my scope is modern zombies. That's it. So imagine Dawn of the Dead, or Zombieland 2, or The Walking Dead, something like that.
You're talking about the Dawn of the Dead remake.
Yes. Not the slow zombies, the fast ones. But I do have archetypes, because I do like Dead Island. Dead Island's friggin' awesome. I like the game. It scares the shit out of me. Sometimes I like to be scared. It's weird. I'm weird. That's the way it is. Sometimes I like to be scared with a woman with a leather whip and thinking that she's going to tie me down and do something both dirty and mean to me at the same time. Yes, I have some fetishes. Okay, we've addressed all of this. Let's address
Mrs.
Age of the Dead.
Mrs. Tabletop, take notes.
She just did. She just looked at me weird. She's right here next to me, folks. All right, so. Oh, also, if you are new, please like and subscribe. I actually have more stuff going on. We're just doing a major talk about my main game, Age of the Dead, because we're going to keep this going on. I'm actually got some announcements that I wanted to discuss later on, but we haven't made it that far yet. We've only discussed the setting and the timeline that I'm going off of. That I actually go off a physical timeline of what events transpire and what kind of zombies you go up against and how often they are. We did actually just go over a couple comments that kind of didn't really make me mad or anything, but stuff that I wanted to address. Now we're talking about characters. Let's talk about characters. So, Mycroft Machiavelli, when me and Colin was actually going over the character, I was sitting here thinking, okay, he has a good aspect of combat and stuff, but it's nothing beyond an ordinary person, which if I made them survivors, he might have been a little bit better at it. But you can't be a survivor of the normal world and an extra, you can't go from a survivor in a normal world to a survivor in a world that's extraordinary. This, regardless if it's fantasy, science fiction, or just modern horror, which is what we're playing in, this is still an extraordinary situation. It doesn't have to be supernatural to be extraordinary. It could just be something that people think it was impossible. Which, okay, before this virus, nobody could, it's like, before this said virus happened, nobody thought that the dead was going to rise again. They thought that was impossible. The science said that was impossible. The science says today that is totally impossible. What's up?
It was just in movies.
Right. It was just in movies. Like, oh, this is just a movie. It's make-believe. It's not real. It can't be real. Well, guess what? It's real, bitches. It's in the world. It's real. So in the world of gaming, it's real, okay? So basically, you can't go from a survivor of the normal world to a survivor of a world that has never existed before. It doesn't work like that. You would still have a lot of major disadvantages because you wouldn't know what to expect from that world. If you were a so-called survivor of the normal world, you probably went out and killed a bear with your bare hands or went wild boar hunting with a pit bull. Okay, congratulations. You're a fucking badass. But in a world where the dead is chasing you and mass amounts of people, and with a virus that nobody can cure, break down, or anything to find a cure for, you're not going to be that. So everyone started off as what we call normies, or norms. So Mycroft was a normal character that was a soldier, whereas Richard Atherton was a normal character that was a normal character. I doubt with Richard that he would have fit into the world of the dead once society collapses, but unfortunately, we're not going to be able to know that for sure. I would say we can't draw conclusions on that unless we put his character in that said thing, but he died.
I mean, if anyone ever takes the time to go watch the original George Romero Day of the Dead, you have the situation where you have this facility being that's controlled by these soldiers who were trying to find a cure for the virus or for the zombies, and it was basically a military dictatorship of this small group of people in this outpost, and this lunatic scientist who was trying to, instead of finding a cure, decided to start finding a way to domesticate the zombies.
That's actually good media to check out, guys. I would recommend that. All right, we got 4 more characters to get through. We already talked about the 2 dead ones, Richard Atherton, which, if Witch King played him a bit more, I imagine probably would have had some plot twists that people go, oh my god, but unfortunately he didn't make it that far. Mycroft made it just a little bit further than that. But once again, I think playing soldiers in a game like that right off the bat is a bad idea. You'd have to definitely be careful, because that's basically asking for you to, because you're going to the danger head on, and you're really not that. I mean, essentially, depending on your skill set, you could probably overpower it. It's also depending on dice rolls, but it would be definitely a challenging thing for a normal person to overcome. even if they are a soldier. So I had a feeling that part of me actually, and this is just me, between Witch King, me, and Colin, and all the group, I felt like those were going to be the first two dead. If you want to be honest, I thought the first two dead was actually going to be Richard Atherton and Julius. I figured Mycroft might have made it further than Julius did, but turns out that was wrong. Let's talk about Julius Garland. Julius Garland is actually a normal guy who goes hunting and goes home and finds his next victim because he is a serial killer and has killed many of his victims, which the group does not know about yet, but the group has not met him yet. In Act 1, he went hunting just to get away from killing and to curb his addiction for killing, as most crazed psychopaths are. He has decided to go hunting, but he forgot to clean his gun, and it exploded and caused a massive amount of damage. He had literally, I think, like four life points left. He went from 40. I know it did like 36 or something like that. It was stupid. Because it was like, I think it was like 60. It was a D6 times 6, and I rolled a 6. So it literally did 36 points of explosion damage. So he got rushed to the hospital in basically in Act 0, which is just an act for them. It's basically session 0 for people to introduce their characters and flesh their characters out more. As he was fleshing his character out, his character's gun exploded, which is terrible, terrible luck.
If this was actually an actual movie, he'd probably survive until close to the end, but he would get caught by one of his victims.
Probably, but we'll see. There's still time for that. We have 4 more sessions left. I honestly thought Richard would have outlived Julius. I thought Julius was going to be dead first chance around because of how much he was done in session 0. I literally felt there was no hope for him. After that roll, that was going to be it. I hated that. And I'm going to say this right now. I hated that. Because there was more to Julius than I was going to be able to tell the story for. Good thing, Tails has been keeping him alive, doing the bare minimum. But we're going to have some things that are going to be coming up by next session that I have to play on. And we're going to have to play on. No choice in that matter. It's going to have to happen. So hopefully we'll see where this goes from here. He is still only up right now. I think he's only up to like 12 life points out of 40. He is still very much injured. He's still very much got stitches. He is still pretty much fucked in the ass.
Didn't his stitches open up?
They keep opening because he keeps tearing them. He keeps now he keeps stitching himself up to the best of his ability. So it may be possible he might be prone to infection here pretty soon. And I actually think with that kind of an issue, he is prone to infection. So that may be something I can play on going around. It won't be like it won't be the viral infection. It'd be like, he got gangrene or something and it's reaching his heart and he may need to find someone who can operate on him to get the infection out, which in this world is going to be kind of hard because the dead is walking around. So, I like Tails' personality that he turned, how he went with Julius. So I do like that. I still think he might be the next one out, but I'm going to tell you guys something. Out of all the current surviving characters, Julius is the one character I want to see succeed and go on to the next act. I have 3 of them. He's 1 out of 3. The next person I definitely want to touch base in because he hasn't really surprised me is Jack, who in session 0 worked for a software and hardware company that James Masters has. So Jack and James actually knew each other but have not met up with each other in this new world that's currently being formed.
It's just one gender away from Jack and Jill.
Oh, there you go. Not happening.
Yeah,
Right now, Jack is a Navy SEALs retiree along with his crew. He used to be in the Special Forces, and he's a bit crazy. He's just nutty. That's the way it is, you know.
you don't say.
But he still has an arsenal full of people as well as secrets, and there is still more of a story to him. Much more of a story than most other of the characters that I've seen. But I think when it comes to who has a bigger story, Julius or Jack, I'm gonna say, you know what, it's a happy tie there. Uh, I think Toby does get a bit cocky. I do know the player personally. I think he gets a bit cocky with him, but I do like on where he's going. If he does survive, we're going to be seeing more of him, and I hope he does survive. He is the second of the three characters I want to survive, because I want to see how Jack will eventually subside with dealing with an extraordinary world. All right, two more characters. James Masters. Let's talk about him since we did bring him up. Let's talk about him. James Masters is my own personal character that I wanted actually in the story. So I decided to make a character and I GM, tell the story as well as play into the story. James is a software and hardware technician that is actually certified and licensed. And he is very smart. Is he smart enough to lead people? Probably not, but he's smart enough to at least fix computers. You know, he loves fast cars, he loves having a gun, he loves protection and all that good stuff. But the biggest thing he loves is women. He loves to have sex with a lot of women. He is actually, that is one of his major downfalls, is the fact that, you know, he sees a beautiful woman, he has to fuck it. He sees something with two legs, he has to fuck it. That's just the way it is. It has not been hard to play that character. It has not been hard to play that character, as that I've actually made that. Now that is a drawback. It's called Cavetus Letras, and it is at it's a level 3 drawback. It can go from level 1 to 5. I chose 3. However, I have rolled the successful willpower roll to resist it, and so far have resisted it all sessions. We have currently have done 5 sessions, and I've resisted it for at least 4 out of those 5 sessions. So awesome! I don't have to play out the fact that I'm fucking some pretend chick. Sweet. He actually owned his own channel called Witch. With the Y, it's like kind of like German. It's like Witch, you know, with a German accent. He streams on there. It's a 2 words, YouTube and Twitch merged together. So he is a streamer. He has 200 to 300 subscribers, and he's trying to gain more to make a lavish lifestyle. But he does work his ass off for his lifestyle, or at least he did before the zombies came. He knows how to shoot. He can fight.
Really, now he's going to have to work even harder so that he can live.
Well, we're getting there. We're getting there. Do I hope he moves on to Act 2? No. Do I want him to die? No. Do I hope that he lives? Not really. I'm kind of... So, all my answers, regardless, are not positive or negative. It's all neutral. And here's my reason why. What you guys don't know and what you guys see off screen is I only have one more part of his story to tell. And once I tell it, it is over with. That is everything. That is James Masters from the old world going into the new world. So for me, it's okay for him to die. If he does. So far he's been living. He's been doing a good job by running. But he's not really one that I do want to see go to Act 2. But if it does, I'm not going to fight it. Because when I play my games and when I GM, I want the story to develop naturally. I don't want to, I don't want to succeed at killing my players. My job is not to succeed to killing my players. My job is to tell a story and see what my players do to see if they can survive my story. That's all this is about. That's all this has ever been about, is survival. It has nothing to do with, do I want to kill my players? Hell no, I don't want to kill my players. I want the story to keep going. And I don't want a set of 6 new characters. Maybe a couple, but not 6. Because I have 6 players, including myself. I don't want I don't want 6 new characters that potentially is somehow in Act 2, but we haven't even told the origin stories of them yet, and we have to walk through how they survived them. So we got to do a session 0, and then a session where they survive the first week of the zombie apocalypse, and then we get to talk about the main session. I don't want to go through that bullshit. I don't mind going through that bullshit with a couple characters, but not 6, because that's going to take fucking forever. So my thing with James is I only have one more part of the story to tell, and then everything from here on out, his backstory is finished and his present story is finished. Then we just got to look to the future. All right, the last and final character, and then we're going to take a quick 10-15 minute break. I got to get some air, and then I got a few more topics to talk about here. All right, last and final character, Darren Williams. Darren Williams is a tow truck driver of Romero City. Also mechanic. He knows how to fix things. He knows how to fix cars. He has a tow truck in case he needs it. He also knows how to fight, guns, and all that stuff because, well, let's face it, tow truck drivers don't deal with the best of people. So he has to learn how to, he has to already know how to defend himself. However, he's pretty smart because he does have a photographic memory. He's been sort of a child prodigy since from birth. He probably went through school knowing pretty much. Probably has he's probably a straight A student with a 4.0 GPA. Because that photographic memory comes in handy. It's been coming in handy so far through the stream. He's been surviving pretty well, but I have to, but there's been a couple close calls. But he's made it through, and here we are. We're going to go into a 6th session together. James Masters and Darren Williams are actually currently together in a mall. We'll see if they can both survive the mall. Do I want Darren Williams to die? Hell no. Do I want him to live? Hell yeah, because I feel like there's more to his story. I feel like there's more to his story than we know about. I think there's more to this story than Chris knows about. I don't think Spartacus even knows his story. I think he's trying to figure it out as he goes along, and I think there's a lot more he can go off of going forward. So we'll definitely address that. I hope he is the 3rd character out of the remaining 4 that I hope actually makes it. I hope.
Remaining?
May not. Yeah, because there's only 4 of us.
Yeah, you said remaining.
I said remaining.
You said remaining.
You said, well, your phone sucks. Anyway, so out of the remaining 4 that we currently have, he is there's only 3. But hey, if James makes it, if we all make it, that'll be good news. That'll be great news. Because then I only have to do with 2 characters' backstories. because when we pick up the game next, it's going to be them meeting 2. It's going to be 2 new characters entering the fray, but in the 2nd week of the apocalypse. That's Act 2. Act 2 will occur the 2nd week of the apocalypse.
Yay!
All right, that is everything I have for right now. Let's take a quick break, and then I want to talk about Romero City. When, where, and why. And we will talk about that. All right, I'm going to be right back. You guys sit tight, and we will come back and address this in 7 minutes. All right, and we are back. All right, at least I'm back. I don't know, Chris might still be away. So, here we go. Let's. If Chris, if you can hear me, you can always chime in. We're getting ready to talk about Romero City. Before we do, though, if you like the stream, please like and subscribe. I'm looking to reach 250 subscribers. I am looking at doing a little bit more fun tonight. It is the weekend, folks, and I don't have to work tomorrow, thank God. But I also got to spend time with Mrs. Tabletop as well. So, anyway, let's move on to the when, where, and why. All right. We're going to start off with the easy one. Why Romero City? Romero City is a fictional city named after George Romero, the father and creator of the zombie genre. The reason why the zombie genre is what it is today in the horror of the pop culture of horror. So I named it after him. That's why. Where is Romero City? I haven't decided which state it is in yet, but I am actually looking towards Montana, or somewhere where I can surround the city by mountains. And let's see, when, where, why, yep, okay, and when, okay. So Romero City is in the present day. That is obviously what I've said a dozen times, but goes back to my, whole thing. Why did I, ultimately, the question is why did I use a fictional city instead of a real one? Well, that way I have control over it. And if I say something wrong, somebody doesn't get offended. Because I can't say something wrong. It's fictional. And it's mine. So, yippee. I made it up. I am looking at making up a new fictional city. There's been some inspiration that I've been using for that. Such as Fear of the Walking Dead. I have only seen a couple episodes of that. So I'm actually going to start watching that here pretty soon, along with my Walking Dead, because I'm in Season 2. I'm rewatching all of Walking Dead. I'm in Season 2 right now, the final 2 episodes, and I'm going on to Season 3. Going from there, that's my inspiration of why I'm going to get a second group. Actually, I'm going to do 3 groups. Romero City is supposedly in the story is experiencing this and is ground zero for it. Well, I have a big ass reveal for you guys. That is a 100% lie. Currently, simultaneously, another city is experiencing this exact same thing. It's just not recorded because Romero City is actually a very rich city, and it has the lowest unemployment rate in the United States on the United States soil. The other city I'm going to choose is going to be the exact opposite of Romero City, and it's not going to be a blissful city with the lowest unemployment rate. It's going to be the highest unemployment rate, lack of jobs, economy sucks, and everyone in it is poor. I think there's a story there to tell. So I am actually going a little bit further into that. And that city will also be a fictional city that I make up, but I'm going to place it in a real state. So I'm actually getting ready to collect on people to do a second campaign with. And then I am going to do a solo third campaign. The third campaign is actually going to reveal a lot of secrets that I've had going on up in my noodle for some time. I am going to put you guys in my head and allow you guys to see what I'm seeing. So we will be doing that going forward. But for right now, at the very least, that is on hold right now because I haven't gotten anyone for a second group yet. The timeline with that is also going to be accelerated, I think, because with a city that is less protected, has less cops, and is also one of the shittiest cities on the planet, it would totally have missed, and somehow the plague would have spread quicker. Patient Zero would have never been a thing, whereas in Romero City, there was a Patient Zero, supposedly. They don't know why he was doing what he was doing, but he was the first one, so they called him Patient Zero, and they were actually at the hospital doing experiments with him to see what they can do to cure his little issue, as well as when he scratches or bites someone and he presses it on, he stops it there as well, basically spreads it that way. So they're trying to actually hold him back and figure out how to do that in Romero City. Well, in another city, the timeline is going to be accelerated, and it is going to be very different, and it's going to be very, very poor. The third campaign that I actually have going on will be a separate story that's going to link the two stories together, and it's actually going to be the so-called secret reveal on why the world is the way it is. And you guys are going to have to stay tuned and watch that as we do that. I will definitely keep you posted when I do those other campaigns. One's going to be called Fear of the Walking Dead, or not Fear of the Walking Dead, Fear of the Age of the Dead, or Welcome to, or like Age of the Dead Part 2 or something like that, or, like I said, I've got a lot of inspiration, but the first one is going to be, the world before the Age of the Dead, or the world that started it, or something like that. But like I said, I have names for the campaigns. Well, that's everything I have at this time, folks. That was pretty much everything I wanted to discuss. Chris, is there anything you wanted to go over?
No, nothing else.
Cool.
You seem to have knocked out what needs to be said.
Yep. Absolutely. So, what is the major key points? I basically just told you guys what I have going forward, and to stay tuned to my channel. But some of the key points to get out of this is all flesh must be eaten is not about killing off your character. It's about telling a story with your character. I'm just sorry that your character happens to die in the process. That's probably convincing when you say it like that. So, yeah. Other than that, I have nothing else to say or do, and there wasn't really a whole lot of questions, so I hope everyone did enjoy it. If you liked everything, please like and subscribe, and stay tuned to my channel. I got more coming up. So remember to work hard, play hard, game on, everybody. You guys have a great and wonderful day, and we'll be doing more of these talks as we press forward. I think the next one, we're going to start talking about some of the past episodes, and we're going to start showing some of the past sessions. So stay tuned.